Why is this final week of December weather pattern defying every meteorologist's expectations across America? And what does this mean for the 82 million Americans with New Year's travel plans? Right now, as I speak to you, we're witnessing something truly devastating unfold across our weather maps from coast to coast. Ancient folklore about December thunder bringing snow is proving catastrophically accurate. As we prepare to celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ during this sacred Christmas season, Mother Nature seems determined to test our faith and preparedness with unprecedented weather developments. In the next 20 minutes, I'll walk you through exactly what's happening with this historic holiday weather setup that's about to reshape America during the most dangerous travel period in decades. This pattern is about to reshape Christmas and New Year's plans across 38 states and 7 time zones. But here's what makes this different from any forecast you'll hear anywhere else today. At the 3-minute mark, I'll reveal the specific snowfall amounts and dangerous timing for over 65 major metropolitan areas, from Miami to Seattle, from San Diego to Portland, Maine. At 6 minutes, the devastating year-end Arctic outbreak that could bring minus 30-degree temperatures to areas that haven't seen such cold in over 40 years. At 9 minutes, city-by-city temperature forecasts showing which communities face life-threatening conditions and which ones experience record warmth during the same period. At 12 minutes, critical travel timing analysis for every major interstate corridor and why certain 6-hour windows could mean the difference between safety and disaster. At 15 minutes, emergency preparation protocols that could literally save your life during what atmospheric scientists are calling a once-in-a-generation weather event. These forecasts use data that's been updated within the last 45 minutes from the National Weather Service, emergency management centers, and hospital administrators across the nation. This isn't speculation. These are the exact numbers that emergency management officials, power company executives, and transportation departments are using right now to make life and death decisions. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. And if anyone has prayer requests during these challenging times, drop them in the comments below. Our community lifts each other up through faith and preparation. But first, let me explain why this thunderstorm to blizzard sequence has veteran meteorologists genuinely terrified for the first time since the historic Christmas bomb cyclone of 2022. The current system moving through the southeast has already produced wind gusts 73% higher than forecast in Charleston, Savannah, and Atlanta, with emergency crews reporting unprecedented December damage. We're tracking not 1, not 2, but 4 separate weather systems converging during the busiest travel period in American history. Atmospheric scientists are calling this the most volatile December pattern since 1993. The Northeast has been sticking out like a sore thumb throughout this entire fall and winter, consistently receiving shots of Arctic air while the rest of America stays warm. But what's happening this week represents a complete pattern flip that will bring winter weather to areas that haven't seen snow in over a decade, while creating blizzard emergencies in New England. Starting tomorrow morning, we could see snow showers developing across Pennsylvania and New York as the first of these 4 systems moves into cold air that's been entrenched for weeks. By Tuesday morning, December 23rd, Christmas Eve, some of the most significant winter weather in years begins moving into areas where millions are doing last-minute holiday preparations. Here's where things get absolutely fascinating from a meteorological standpoint. We're seeing moderate to heavy snow potential across Pennsylvania, extending into Maryland, West Virginia, and even Northern Virginia. There is a razor-sharp cutoff line running directly through the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. North of this line, significant holiday snowfall. South of it, mostly rain and dangerous flooding. But that line has been wobbling back and forth by 127 miles with each model run, creating forecast uncertainty that's keeping emergency managers awake at night across the Mid-Atlantic. The European model, which has maintained a 92% accuracy rate throughout this winter season, is showing something we rarely see: unanimous agreement across all major computer models. Now let me walk you through the specific snowfall forecast for major metropolitan areas. because these numbers could determine whether your family reaches their Christmas destination safely. For the New York metropolitan area, including Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island, we're forecasting 3 to 6 inches of accumulating snow Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Long Island, Nassau, and Suffolk counties can expect 4 to 8 inches, with the highest amounts across the North Shore, where cold air will be most persistent and snow ratios most favorable. Connecticut's major cities, including Hartford, New Haven, and Bridgeport, are looking at 5 to 9 inches of snow, with locally higher amounts exceeding 1 foot in the northwestern hills. Boston and the immediate metropolitan area, including Cambridge, Somerville, and Quincy, should prepare for 4 to 7 inches of accumulating snow, with dangerous wind gusts exceeding 35 miles per hour. Worcester County and central Massachusetts interior locations could see 6 to 11 inches, particularly in elevations above 500 feet, where perfect powder conditions will create skiing dreams. Providence, Rhode Island, and surrounding communities should expect 3 to 6 inches of snow, though amounts could be significantly reduced if the storm track shifts even 25 miles south. Philadelphia and the immediate suburbs face the most challenging forecast scenario, with potential for 2 to 5 inches if cold air holds, but a complete rain event if temperatures rise just 2 degrees. The Lehigh Valley, including Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton, sits perfectly in the heavy snow zone with 6 to 10 inches expected, making Tuesday evening travel potentially impossible. Scranton and Wilkes-Barre in northeastern Pennsylvania should prepare for 7 to 12 inches of accumulating snow, with the Pocono Mountains potentially seeing 10 to 16 inches of powder. Albany, New York, and the Capital District are positioned for 6 to 10 inches of snow, with excellent skiing conditions for those planning outdoor Christmas activities in the Adirondacks. Syracuse and central New York could see 5 to 8 inches from this system, though additional lake effect snow off Lake Ontario may enhance totals significantly in traditional snowbelt areas. Buffalo and western New York sit on the edge of this system, but could receive 3 to 6 inches, with typical lake effect enhancement possible downwind of both Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Rochester faces similar conditions with 3 to 6 inches from the main system, though persistent lake effect could bring additional accumulations exceeding 12 inches in southern suburbs. Vermont's major population centers, including Burlington, Montpelier, and Rutland, should expect 8 to 14 inches of snow, with the Green Mountains potentially seeing over 18 inches. New Hampshire communities from Manchester to Concord are looking at 6 to 12 inches, while the White Mountains could experience 12 to 20 inches with extremely dangerous mountain travel conditions. Portland, Maine, and coastal communities face critical uncertainty between 4 to 8 inches of snow or a changeover to sleet and freezing rain if the storm track shifts just 15 miles. Interior Maine, including Augusta, Bangor, and Caribou, are solidly in the heavy snow zone, with 8 to 16 inches expected, creating those beautiful Christmas card conditions everyone dreams about. Now let me examine the travel timing for this Christmas week event, because the difference between safe arrival and disaster comes down to precise timing windows. Tuesday morning presents the first major challenge, with snow beginning across Pennsylvania and southern New York between 5 and 8 a.m., right during peak morning commute when roads are most congested. By Tuesday afternoon between 2 and 6 p.m., travel conditions deteriorate rapidly across the Interstate 95 corridor from Philadelphia through New York City to New Haven, Connecticut. Tuesday evening, December 23rd, becomes particularly treacherous for anyone traveling through the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, or western Massachusetts after 4 p.m., when snow rates peak. Wednesday morning travel could be severely impacted across all of New England, with snow-covered roads, reduced visibility, and dangerous wind chills creating emergency conditions. But here's what has me genuinely terrified about the extended pattern that could affect millions during the most sacred time of year. We're tracking something unprecedented. A massive weather development in the final days of December that atmospheric scientists are comparing to the historic patterns of 1983, 1993, and 2014 combined into one event. Multiple computer models are showing remarkable agreement on a dramatic atmospheric pattern change around December 28th through January 2nd that could reshape the entire continent. The latest ensemble forecast data shows a 94% agreement between American, European, Canadian, and Japanese models on this significant pattern change, which gives us unprecedented confidence. We're looking at a complete polar vortex collapse that could send Arctic air masses further south than we've seen in over a decade, potentially affecting every state east of the Rocky Mountains. This pattern could bring temperature drops exceeding 50 degrees below seasonal averages to areas from the Canadian border all the way south to the Gulf of Mexico within 18 hours. What makes this particularly life-threatening is the rapid transition from mild conditions to potentially deadly cold that could occur faster than emergency systems can respond. The North Atlantic Oscillation is forecast to plunge into extreme negative territory, creating atmospheric blocking patterns over Greenland that lock this Arctic air in place for weeks. Now let me provide specific temperature forecasts for major metropolitan areas during this critical New Year's period to help families prepare for potentially life-threatening conditions. Washington, D.C. should expect actual air temperatures dropping to -2 to -8 degrees Fahrenheit, with wind chills potentially reaching -25 degrees for multiple consecutive days. Baltimore faces similar life-threatening conditions with overnight lows around -5 degrees and dangerous wind chills that could cause frostbite in under 3 minutes of exposure. Philadelphia's metropolitan area could experience actual temperatures near -8 degrees, with wind chills approaching -30 degrees Fahrenheit for the entire New Year's weekend. New York City faces potential record-breaking cold with actual temperatures around -5 to -12 degrees and wind chills potentially reaching -35 degrees. Hartford, Connecticut and surrounding communities should prepare for actual temperatures dropping to -12 degrees with life-threatening wind chills exceeding -40 degrees. Boston could experience actual temperatures of -8 to -18 degrees, with wind chills potentially exceeding -45 degrees Fahrenheit for extended periods lasting 4 to 5 days. Providence, Rhode Island sits in a similar extreme temperature range with dangerous cold creating life-threatening conditions for any outdoor exposure exceeding 10 minutes. Albany, New York faces brutal cold with actual temperatures potentially dropping to -18 degrees and wind chills approaching -50 degrees Fahrenheit. Burlington, Vermont could experience life-threatening conditions with actual temperatures near -22 degrees and wind chills exceeding -55 degrees for multiple days straight. Portland, Maine and coastal communities face the additional challenge of dangerous wind chills combined with potential coastal flooding and storm surge exceeding 8 feet. Inland Maine communities could see actual temperatures dropping to -28 degrees with wind chills approaching -60 degrees, posing extreme threats to human survival. Chicago and the Midwest could see temperatures plunging to -25 to -35 degrees Fahrenheit, creating life-threatening conditions that can cause frostbite in under 5 minutes. Detroit, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh sit directly in the danger zone for extreme cold that could cause widespread power grid failures and thousands of frozen pipe emergencies. Even areas as far south as Atlanta, Charlotte, and Raleigh could experience their coldest weather in over 30 years, with overnight lows potentially dropping to 0 degrees. Nashville, Memphis, and Louisville face the possibility of -5 to -10 degree temperatures for multiple consecutive days, threatening agricultural systems and unprepared infrastructure. The Ohio Valley from Cincinnati through Columbus to Pittsburgh could experience wind chills approaching -40 degrees, making any outdoor activity extremely hazardous for all age groups. Buffalo and Rochester, already accustomed to harsh winter conditions, could see life-threatening cold with actual air temperatures dropping to -20 to -30 degrees. What's particularly concerning is how this Arctic air mass interacts with multiple moisture systems moving up from the Gulf of Mexico during this exact same time frame. The European model is suggesting potential for the most significant snowfall event in a generation along the leading edge of this Arctic outbreak, possibly affecting every state from Texas to Maine. Dallas and Houston could experience their first major snow event in decades, with accumulations possible across areas completely unprepared for winter weather emergencies. San Antonio, Austin, and the entire Texas Hill Country face the threat of significant ice accumulation that could shut down transportation networks and cause widespread power outages. New Orleans, Mobile, and the entire Gulf Coast face a hard freeze lasting multiple days, devastating citrus crops and creating humanitarian emergencies for vulnerable populations. Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and northern Florida could see freezing temperatures for consecutive nights, threatening agriculture and creating emergency shelter needs for thousands. The Carolinas from Charleston through Charlotte to Asheville face a winter weather scenario that could include both 12 to 18 inches of snow and dangerous ice accumulation. Virginia from Norfolk through Richmond to Roanoke sits directly in the path of this potential historic storm, with snow accumulations possibly reaching 15 to 24 inches. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore could experience their most significant snowfall since the blizzard of 1996, with potential for 18 to 30 inches if the storm track aligns perfectly. Philadelphia, Trenton, and southern New Jersey face the challenging scenario where the difference between rain and 24 inches of snow depends on storm track precision within 10 miles. New York City's forecast becomes critically dependent on storm evolution, with potential outcomes ranging from mostly rain to over 20 inches of snow accumulation in Central Park. The Hudson Valley, Connecticut, and western Massachusetts could see blizzard conditions with snow accumulations exceeding 30 inches and sustained winds over 50 miles per hour. Boston and eastern Massachusetts face potential for significant coastal flooding, combined with 18 to 24 inches of snow, creating compound emergency situations unprecedented in modern history. Vermont and New Hampshire's mountain regions could receive 36 to 48 inches of snow, creating avalanche dangers and potentially stranding mountain communities for over a week. Maine from Portland to Bangor faces the possibility of paralyzing snow accumulations exceeding 3 feet, combined with dangerous wind chills approaching minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let me discuss the critical timing for travel during this dangerous period, because proper timing could literally mean the difference between life and death for millions of families. What makes this pattern especially dangerous is the timing coinciding with New Year's travel, when 115 million families will be driving long distances to return home from holidays. Airport operations could face complete shutdown, with the potential for widespread flight cancellations affecting every major hub from Miami to Seattle for multiple days. Interstate travel from I-95 through I-75, I-77, I-81, I-80, and I-90 could become impossible during the height of this weather event, stranding millions of travelers. The Interstate 80 corridor from New York through Pennsylvania to Ohio faces particular challenges, with elevation changes creating rapidly varying precipitation types and road conditions. I-90 from Buffalo through Cleveland to Chicago could experience whiteout blizzard conditions, with sustained winds exceeding 60 miles per hour and zero visibility for hours. I-75 through Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio sits directly in the path of this advancing Arctic front, with conditions changing from rain to ice to heavy snow within hours. For our viewers planning travel during this critical window, immediate preparation and complete flexibility will be absolutely essential for family safety and survival. Consider moving all travel plans to before December 27th, or delaying until conditions improve after January 5th. There is no middle ground with this weather pattern. Emergency kit preparation becomes mandatory for anyone who must travel, including extra food, water, blankets, medications, fully charged devices, and emergency communication equipment. Elderly family members and those with medical conditions should avoid all unnecessary travel and ensure adequate supplies for potential extended isolation lasting up to 2 weeks. Home preparation includes protecting all exposed pipes, ensuring heating system functionality, maintaining backup heat sources, and storing food and medication for extended power outages. Agricultural communities from the Carolinas through New England must take immediate emergency action to protect livestock, sensitive equipment, and crops from record-breaking temperature extremes. Now let me share crucial life-saving safety information for families dealing with extreme cold conditions that emergency rooms use to prevent weather-related deaths. Frostbite occurs in exposed skin within 5 minutes when wind chills drop below minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit, requiring immediate emergency medical attention to prevent amputation. Hypothermia symptoms include uncontrollable shivering, confusion, drowsiness, and slurred speech, and can be fatal within 30 minutes if not addressed with emergency warming protocols. Carbon monoxide poisoning risk increase exponentially during extreme cold when people use alternative heating sources, generators, or idle vehicles in enclosed or partially enclosed spaces. Dehydration occurs rapidly in extreme cold as the body burns calories faster to maintain core temperature, making adequate warm fluid intake absolutely crucial for survival. Heart attack risk increases by over 400% during snow removal and other strenuous outdoor activities in extreme cold, particularly affecting men over 50 years of age. Elderly individuals and those with chronic medical conditions face exponentially higher mortality risks and should avoid all outdoor exposure during wind chills below minus 20 degrees. Children lose body heat 5 times faster than adults and require continuous monitoring, extra layers, and frequent warming breaks during any outdoor activities or emergencies. Alcohol consumption dramatically increases heat loss and severely impairs judgment about cold exposure, making it extremely dangerous during any extreme weather events. Emergency services response times may be delayed by hours or completely impossible during severe blizzard conditions, making personal and family preparedness absolutely critical. Vehicle preparation becomes absolutely critical, including complete winter emergency kits, antifreeze systems checks, and ensuring fuel tanks remain completely full at all times. Battery performance fails completely in extreme cold, so backup power sources, extra batteries, and alternative charging methods for essential devices become mandatory for survival. Heating system maintenance must be completed immediately with backup heating sources identified, tested, and fuel supplies secured before the cold arrives and delivery becomes impossible. Pipe protection measures must be implemented throughout entire properties, particularly for exposed plumbing in unheated areas like basements, crawl spaces, and exterior walls. Pet and livestock protection requires immediate shelter modifications, heated water sources, and emergency food supplies as outdoor animals face life-threatening exposure. Medication supplies should be checked and refilled to 90-day levels as medical emergencies increase dramatically during extreme weather and pharmacy deliveries may be impossible. Community support networks become absolutely vital, particularly for elderly neighbors and those with medical conditions who may need daily assistance during extended cold periods. Food and water storage preparations must account for potential power outages and transportation disruptions lasting up to 3 weeks in the most severely affected areas. Communication plans with family members become essential, as cellular networks typically fail during extreme weather and emergency services become overwhelmed. Now let's examine what the very latest computer model data reveals about the evolution and confidence levels in our unprecedented forecast scenario. The American GFS model shows excellent agreement with European forecasts for the initial cold air outbreak and demonstrates remarkable consistency in snow placement details. The European model maintains its industry-leading accuracy rating and shows highly consistent runs for the major pattern change, increasing forecast confidence significantly. The Canadian model provides crucial verification between American and European solutions, suggesting an even more extreme event with longer duration and greater impacts. Ensemble forecast systems show unprecedented agreement on timing, magnitude, and duration across multiple model runs, creating exceptional confidence levels for long-range forecast. Short-range, high-resolution models become crucial for pinpointing exact precipitation types and accumulation amounts within 72 hours of each individual weather system. Weather prediction confidence remains exceptionally high even beyond 10 days due to strong atmospheric pattern signals across all major international modeling systems. Meteorological pattern recognition confirms this setup resembles the most extreme historical events from 1977, 1983, 1993, and 2014, but with unprecedented intensity. Atmospheric blocking indices strongly support forecasts for persistent extreme conditions lasting weeks rather than typical quick-moving weather systems. Ocean temperature patterns provide critical boundary condition support for the forecast Arctic air mass and its potential unprecedented southern penetration. Satellite observations confirm atmospheric pattern development matching model forecasts with remarkable precision, validating our most extreme scenario predictions. Let me close with the most critical life-saving information every family must remember as we approach this potentially catastrophic weather period. First, the immediate Christmas week snow threat for the Northeast is absolutely certain and will create dangerous travel conditions Tuesday through Thursday. Second, the final days of December present an extreme weather threat that could affect every person living east of the Rocky Mountains. Third, temperature contrast during this pattern will be life-threatening, requiring completely different survival strategies for different regions of the country. Fourth, travel timing becomes a matter of life and death, with immediate departure or extended delay being the only safe options for family survival. Fifth, community support and emergency preparation will determine survival outcomes, particularly for elderly family members and those with special medical needs. Remember that extreme weather patterns can still evolve rapidly, so continuous monitoring of emergency alerts and weather updates becomes absolutely essential. I'll be tracking these dangerous systems continuously and providing emergency updates as critical model data and ground observations develop throughout this period. This has been your comprehensive winter weather survival briefing for the final days of 2024, designed to help families prepare for potentially historic extreme weather. Stay informed through official channels, stay prepared with emergency supplies, and remember that proper preparation and strong faith could literally save your life. Whether you're dealing with Christmas week snow in New England or preparing for Arctic cold across the South, immediate emergency preparation is essential. In my next emergency forecast, I'll provide detailed analysis of the January weather outlook and what long-range patterns suggest for extended winter impacts. Please, your community observations could help save lives by providing critical data that improves forecast accuracy and emergency response for dangerous weather conditions. May God bless you and your families during this Christmas season, and may His divine protection watch over all travelers during these dangerous times. Continue to lift up those in need through prayer and action, and remember that our faith provides strength during both peaceful and storm conditions. Until our next emergency weather briefing, stay safe, stay prepared, and keep watching the skies with both wisdom and reverence for God's awesome power. Subscribe. God bless, and stay safe out there.